Right, first review. Gotta be something good. Gotta be something recent. This'll work perfectly. What do you say, Mr. Drippy?
I will feast on your soul.
Yes, later. Anyway, we've got to do this properly, so let's hit it. What do you mean the anime soundtrack isn't in the game? Oh, right. Well, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing this. Attack on Mother-Loving Titan, or Shingeki no Kyojin to others, originally began as a manga series written and illustrated by Hajime Isayama. The series was later adapted into the incredibly popular anime series of the same name in 2013. In an attempt to cash in on its popularity, a 3DS game, Attack on Titan Humanity in Chains, was released in mid-2015 by developer Spike Chunsoft to a resounding chorus of
"No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
negative review scores. Fast forward to now, and developers Omega Force, a division of Koei Tecmo, take another stab at the license with Attack on Titan, Wings of Freedom. How does it fare? Let's find out. Story time. Over 100 years ago, the Titans came. Giant 5 to 15 metre tall genderless humanoid creatures, and began their unstoppable rampage across the world, driving humanity to the brink of extinction. The remnants of humankind now reside within 3 enormous concentric walls and have lived in relative peace for the past century. The story follows Eren Yeager, his adopted sister Mikasa Ackerman, and their childhood friend Armin Arlart.
Oh my God, I try all the time in this institution.
After the sudden appearance of a 200-foot colossal titan, their world is torn asunder when it breaches the outer wall, allowing hordes of smaller titans to invade their hometown. This, and the events that followed, set in motion their desire to join the military survey corps, elite soldiers tasked with venturing beyond the wall and taking the fight back to the titans. The game's plot closely follows the key moments from the first season of the Attack on Titan anime, with a few additional scenarios thrown in which take place during and after. The endless wait for Season 2 continues. The game itself plays a lot like a Musou title such as Dynasty Warriors or Hyrule Warriors, and as such is mainly mission structured. However, unlike those games, Wings of Freedom does not have you cutting a bloody swath through hordes of enemies, but rather battling gigantic foes like a dual katana-wielding steampunk Spider-Man. Their only weakness? The nape on the back of their neck.
This is so boring.
Well, excuse me, princess. Do you want to do the review? No? Then shut up, you plushy bastard! There are 2 game modes available in Wings of Freedom. I'll speak of Expedition mode first, as this isn't where the real meat of the game lies. This mode is where you can play the game cooperatively with others in survey missions. The mode is sadly rather lackluster, as there isn't too much in the way of co-op specific strategies that can be employed in said game type. It's kind of a shame that they didn't allow you to play the campaign mode in co-op, as I feel this would have made the multiplayer more meaningful. Attack mode is the campaign, where you'll follow through a faithful recreation of the events of the anime. The only trouble I had with this is that a lot of the things such as character quirks and certain events are offhandedly mentioned in optional dialogue, and as such some of the storyline nuances will be lost upon the uninitiated. The game mostly consists of you going from objective to objective, either on foot, by horse, or, most favourably, your omnidirectional mobility gear. Most of the objectives in the game will require you to kill titans. The ODM gear fires 2 grappling hooks on steel tethers that attach to targets and reel in at high speed, propelling its users high into the air. The game does a great job of making this semi-realistic in the same way that swinging around in Treyarch's Spider-Man 2 game was. By that I mean that the anchors will always attach themselves to something physical in the environment and not just latch onto thin air. Whilst on missions you'll have to pay close attention to your gas canister levels and blade strength in the lower left corner, the former of which allows you to blast forward in a sudden burst of speed with or without the aid of your ODM gear, and the latter allowing you to bring the pain. Your combat effectiveness is greatly reduced unless you keep these meters topped up. Thankfully there are numerous supply points dotted around the maps to stock up, or alternatively you can pick through the belongings of your fallen comrades. As well as fighting with blades in the ODM gear, you can also utilise the various cannon emplacements and traps that are strategically placed around the combat zones. These could be used to great effect in scattering closely knit groups of titans. After completing a mission you receive a grade based on your performance. The better your performance, the better your reward, in crafting materials and currency. There is also a simple level up system in place which gives extra incentive to perform well. Regiment skill levels unlock new equipment and crafting materials of which you can purchase from vendors. Soldier skill levels grant access to new abilities for the character you're playing as. These abilities can either activate when certain conditions are met, such as stronger strikes when attacking from above, to things such as double boosts while airborne. Between missions you have the option of shopping at vendors, which allows you to acquire or upgrade your blades, horse and ODM gear. Upgrades require you to either purchase or acquire crafting materials. This can be mainly done by hacking the limbs off of titans marked with the diamond symbol, or through simply completing missions.
負けるもんか。できた。
Occasionally, whilst on missions, green exclamation marks will appear signalling that a squad member is in trouble. Assisting them will allow them to join your squad. Up to 3 AI teammates can join you at a time. They can be given rudimentary commands but seem to mostly be good for distracting titans to allow you a clean approach for a decisive killing blow.
すみません、助かりました。
At certain points of the story, you're given control of a titan, which allows you to pretty much unleash the beast and go full-on rage mode, punching, kicking and smashing other titans into oblivion. This is a lot of fun in the few moments you get to do so, but unfortunately also falls prey to the biggest criticism I have with the rest of this game. Whilst the initial thrill of slaying titans using your ODM gear and blades cannot be understated, as it is immensely satisfying to do so for the first several hours, however, repetition soon rears its ugly head. Whilst there are different varieties of enemies, they are mostly dealt with in the same fashion. Go straight for the nape and neck or hack limbs off until you have a clear shot at it. Wings of Freedom does not really do anything to alleviate this problem, especially when it tries to pad the game length by providing optional survey missions which all have to be completed in order to access the entirety of the story. This is a somewhat fatal flaw, as most people won't have the patience to do so. Not even the unlockable gallery is enough of an incentive to slog through the tedium. The controls are typical of the genre when on the ground, but as soon as you get airborne, that's when it gets a bit more complicated. It'll take some practice to get to grips with initially, but you'll soon be performing aerial ballets of death in no time. The trickiest part is remembering the button combination necessary to bring a titan down. First you need to lock onto a titan with the R1 button, latch on with the ODM gear pressing the square button, line up your attack, release the left stick in order to retract the line to sufficient speed with the option of a gas boost by pressing the X button, and, when you're near your target, hitting triangle at just the right moment to decimate it. The camera is usually okay, but does become a bit of a nightmare when there are multiple titans in a cluster, and especially when you get sandwiched between them and buildings, as there are a lot of tight alleyways that you end up fighting down. When in enclosed spaces, you will likely be wrestling with the right stick trying to find a decent camera angle. From a graphical standpoint,
If graphics didn't matter, I wouldn't keep upgrading! I would've stayed with the Atari, you idiots!
the game is very pleasing to the eye, and the visuals also match the anime series thanks to its cel-shaded art style. The game, for the most part, runs at a smooth 60 FPS, but has noticeable drops in performance, especially when there are multiple titans around smashing up buildings in your vicinity. As near as I can tell, the original Japanese voice cast for the anime reprised their respective roles in the game, which will likely be an appreciated feature to fans of the series. Certainly was to me, anyway. The sound itself is spot on to the series, everything sounds as it should. My one criticism on this front, however, is that they did not use the amazing soundtrack from the anime. It just seems like such a strange omission, seeing as everything else is so authentic. As we approach the final verdict, here are some of the things I liked and disliked about the game. I liked that it had the original Japanese voice cast, had a fantastic sense of verticality and speed, bit of a silly one, but it made me want to re-watch the anime, and in fact during my playtime I regularly alternated between the two as they complemented each other pretty well. Swinging around the place is a lot of fun, great art direction that is faithful to the anime, and combat wise it is very different to your typical Musou game. Dislike-wise, story elements can be missed in the chaos of battle. Because the dialogue is spoken in Japanese, you can miss certain things when not paying attention to the subtitles, especially if you're not fluent in the language. It had a bit of an inconsistent frame rate, the camera was sometimes unreliable, it got repetitive after a few hours of gameplay. There's no co-op campaign. You need to grind to access post-series related content. The anime soundtrack is inexplicably missing. Emotional scenes from the show are kind of glossed over. And the paid DLC costumes should really just be unlocked for the main game. They really didn't need to bolt price tags on these things.
旧市街地の出口への最短ルート。本体との接触前に奴らを倒す。
So in all, these are the likes and the dislikes. So my final verdict on Attack on Titan Wings of Freedom is a bit tricky to stamp with just the one score, so in this instance I'll be assigning 2.
What? You can't just change that!
Well, I just did it, sucker!
For those who are big fans of Attack on Titan in its manga or anime form, this is a solid 7 out of 10 game. For everyone else unfamiliar with the universe, this is a 6 out of 10. This is a great first attempt at a non-handheld version of the series, and I look forward to seeing what can be done to spice up the gameplay in any potential future instalment of this franchise. So, there we have it. What did you think, Mr. Trippy?
I think you need to stop making these fucking videos, you proper untidy cockhead.
Actually, you know what? I'm letting Guts have this one.
Oh fuck.
Lord Helmet, Black! You're needed on the bridge, sir. Knock on my door! Knock next time! Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good!
Keep your weapons out.